Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai haere mai ki tēnei hui. Good afternoon everyone and welcome to the hearings in relation to the proposed dog control bylaw and policy. So welcome also to Laura and the members of our public that have come along to present this afternoon, and to our staff and also to you councillors. The hearing is being live streamed, so there are people that are listening in on live stream, so welcome to you as well. The hearings will be conducted on the basis that each submitter will have 5 minutes to make their presentation. If the 5 minutes is not used, then if you are happy to take questions, then the rest of the 5 minutes can be used for councillors to ask questions if you're happy to do that. And also just a final reminder, if we could just have our mobile phones turned off. So with that, I think we'll get the hearings underway, and if I could ask Councillor Wang if you could open our meeting with the karakia, please.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. Tūtaua mai runga, tūtaua mai raro, tūtaua mai roto, tūtaua mai waho. Kia tawai, te mauri tū, te mauri ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, tae ki e.
Tēnā koe, Councillor Wang, for our karakia. So do I have any apologies? I have apologies from Councillor Kiriopa and from Councillor Lee. That seems to be it. So if I could have a mover and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Seconded by Councillor Waru. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, thank you, that is carried. Are there any declarations of interest for the meeting this afternoon? No, there don't appear to be any. Thank you very much. So, need to receive the report. So can I ask for a mover and a seconder that the dog control bylaw and dog policy hearings be received? Moved Mayor Tapsell, thank you. Seconded Councillor Maxwell. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, thank you, that is carried. So, Councillor Waru.
Apologies, I should have flagged it earlier. I just want to make sure that being a dog owner doesn't make me conflicted.
No.
Kia ora.
All right, thank you. So just to the submitters then. So just in terms of the procedure, we've got a little clock up here which will count down. So if you could perhaps wrap up around about 4 minutes 30 if you are still speaking at that time. If you finish before then and you are okay to answer questions, councillors, if you do wish to ask a question, then please put it succinctly, so because we'll only have a short amount of time for the submitter to answer it, because it must be answered within that 5 minute time, and that's just to ensure fairness to all the submitters that are coming along this afternoon. So with that, we have a number of people that have been asked to come along this afternoon. They've been asked to come along in blocks of 30 minutes, so that, and what we'll do is we'll take the submitters in the order that they've actually arrived. So I suppose first in, best dressed, or first in is first up. So our first submitter this afternoon is Suzanne Goit, sorry, apologies. Would you like to come forward to the desk here? You can take the middle seat if you like.
Sorry, Madam Chair, just before we start, can you please let us know what page, if possible?
Oh, sorry, it's on page 6. Page 6 of the hearings, policies, submissions. Oh, sorry, volume 2 as well. So we'll just make sure everyone's got the right volume and the right page. Suzanne, before you start, are you happy to take questions if you don't use the full 5 minutes or not?
Yeah, I am happy to answer questions, but I've timed this and it's exactly 5 minutes.
Perfect.
Sorry.
All right, well, we're in your hands, Suzanne, when you're ready.
Okay. My apologies that I'm wearing Ugg boots. I don't generally wear slippers out, but my feet and my legs are still swollen and bruised, so that's why I'm wearing Ugg boots. I was attacked by 3 pig dogs on Sunset Road 2 weeks ago. I lost a litre of blood. The first night in hospital, my vitals were monitored every half hour. I had immediate surgery to avoid infection, 40 sutures, approximately 50 centimetres of scarring on both my forearms and lower legs from multiple deep puncture wounds, tearing and flesh torn out. It felt like I was being ripped to shreds. So I count myself very fortunate to be standing here, sitting here, speaking to you. I'm an active walker and mountain biker. I was carrying a heavy bag with which I was able to defend myself as best I could. If I had not been able to fight off this pack of dogs, I am sure I could have been killed. If the current laws had been adequately enforced by the Rotorua Local Council, this attack wouldn't have happened. If fines were large enough, properly enforced, fines would act as a disincentive for negligent dog owners. $200 for failure to keep dog controlled or confined. What's $200? It's not enough. $300 for allowing dog known as dangerous to be at large, unmuzzled or unleashed. Again, what's $300? It's not enough. Instead of raising dog registration, resulting in less owners registering their dogs, make irresponsible dog owners pay. Working dogs. Does this include hunting dogs? Does Lakes Council view pig dogs in the same light as sheep heading dogs? Pig dogs often reside within residential areas. Because of their breeding and training, pig dogs are treated and handled differently to domestic pets. These dogs are extremely fit, trained to kill, and are adrenaline-fueled. They get bored. These dogs are hard to exercise between hunts. Greater regulation and enforcement to ensure the property is doubly secure, particularly for pig dogs. Dogs secured in the back of the property and the front, also securely gated and fenced. When the owners are not home, these dogs should be caged. Classification of owners should include hunting dogs kept in residential properties. Hunting dogs not be allowed within 2 kilometres of schools, rest homes, disability residential services, playgrounds and recreational reserves. I was walking from the alleyway onto the footpath. It happened opposite Sunset Primary School, just before 3 p.m. I was 3 houses down from a residential disability service. These 3 pig dogs did me a lot of harm physically and psychologically. My scars will remind me of it for the rest of my life. If I had no means of defending myself, if I had been a child walking home from school, a vulnerable person, frail or with a disability, those dogs would have done far, far more damage. During this attack, I felt their intention and instinct was to kill me. Too many dogs roaming our streets, too many people getting bitten, too many people too afraid to walk around their community. Some I've even heard have been attacked in their own property by other people's dogs. Dog owners are even too afraid to walk their dogs and avoid dog-designated areas. It's the council who must step up to ensure dog regulations, to enforce the law, more dog control staff, adequate resources, a specific enforcement officer. Council must invest in and prioritise dog regulation enforcement to ensure we are all safe and enjoy walking in our community. The irresponsible bad dog owners should pay, not the rest of us. by not setting insufficiently strict laws, by not setting high enough penalties to irresponsible and negligent owners, by not enforcing existing laws, Rotorua Local Council allowed these dogs to almost kill me.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. Thank you very much, Suzanne, for that very heartfelt submission, and we're really sorry that you've had to suffer this attack, but we also wish you well for your recovery. So I think we have reached the 5-minute time, so can I thank you very much for coming in today to make your submission in person. Okay, our next submitter is Holly Wright. If Holly's here, would you like to come forward? Good afternoon and welcome, Holly.
Thank you.
Just checking before you start,
Yeah.
if you are happy to take questions or not, if you have any spare time at the end.
Yes.
You will? Okay.
I am, yeah.
All right, so we're in your hands. You'll see the counter start.
Perfect. So thank you very much. Quite nervous, not a public speaker. Just to introduce myself, my name's Holly Wright. I am a dog walker to Rotorua. I have been doing this for 1 year, pretty much to the day in Rotorua, and have been brought up with dogs and around kennels since the beginning of time back in the UK. So thank you for allowing me to speak on 2 critical measures that could greatly enhance our community's approach to managing roaming and potentially dangerous dogs. As we strive to make Rotorua a safer and more harmonious place for all residents, addressing the issue of roaming dogs is crucial. I want to speak about the benefits of creating a DNA data bank and enforcing desexing for dogs with a roaming history. Let's consider the impact of roaming dogs on public safety. Roaming dogs pose risks to people, to vehicles on roads, and to other animals. This issue has clearly just been highlighted by the lady behind us, and she is one of hundreds that it happens to, and a very brave lady that's actually come and spoken about it. Thank you. Uncontrolled dogs can become aggressive, especially when roaming in packs. Additionally, unneutered dogs can contribute to overbreeding, increasing the number of stray dogs. These animals often end up in shelters, straining resources such as the pound, and facing uncertain futures. I can speak from experience. I am a foster home to abandoned dogs and puppies at times. And I've been in the heartbreaking situation where I've fostered puppies and they've had to be put down because they couldn't find a good home. By neutering dogs, we can reduce the number of stays and prevent aggressive behaviours associated with unplanned breeding and territorial disputes. Neutered dogs are less likely to wander in search of mates, which in turn reduces the number of roaming dogs. Fewer roaming dogs lead to fewer conflicts and a safer environment for everyone. Neutering also addresses the problem of overpopulation, aligning with Rotorua's commitment to responsible pet ownership. It sets a positive example for our community and encourages responsible behaviour amongst all dog owners. By fostering a culture of care and responsibility, we can ensure that all our pets are well managed, making our community safer and more compassionate. Regarding the DNA testing portion of the proposed policy and bylaw change, implementing a DNA data bank allows us to extract and store DNA profiles from impounded dogs using saliva or hair samples. This will enable us to identify dogs responsible for problematic behaviours, and DNA evidence strengthens law enforcement by providing solid proof in legal proceedings, making it easier to prosecute responsible owners and disprove false accusations. By linking only the correct dogs to specific incidents, DNA profiling minimises wrongful accusations and supports a more effective and just system for managing dog-related issues. In conclusion, I believe Rotorua needs a major overhaul in managing dog ownership. As someone working in the industry, I encounter the hazards of roaming dogs on a daily basis, and they put myself and other people's dogs in danger. The attitudes of some owners are outdated. Rotorua Council must take a stronger stance in prosecuting irresponsible owners to effect meaningful change. Additionally, as a tourist town, Rotorua's reputation as a dog-friendly destination has a lot of room for improvement, and these measures would be a great start. I thank you for your attention and giving me the time to speak. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Holly. We've got 1 minute left, so your worship.
Thank you. You're very strongly supportive of the DNA testing. Have you seen that work successfully elsewhere, such as the UK that you talk about?
Yep, so seen a bit of background in the UK. My also support is the fact that I think it works for both sides of the fence. For dogs that could be implicated that are innocent, we can prove that also. There is a lot of dogs roaming that all look the same. It would be great to be able to pinpoint exactly.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, councillors? No, there don't appear to be. Can I thank you very much, Holly, for coming and making a very thorough presentation this afternoon, submission this afternoon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next submitter is Tom Stevenson. Now, councillors, that is volume 2, page 8. Good afternoon, Tom, and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity for coming to meet with the council today. First of all, I'm 100% not anti-dogs. I'm 100% not anti-dog owners. I 100% support any bylaw that assists people in having issues with, or that are experiencing issues with dogs. My partner and I are one of those people. We're currently experiencing some issues with some barking and howling dogs, up to 40 or 50 dogs at any one time on one property, which is just beyond belief. We've been now complaining for more than 2 years to the Rotorua Lakes Council, and during that whole complaints process, I guess anyone or everyone or anyone would research the bylaw to find out whether what rights they have or what rights they don't have. What we have found in the bylaw currently is that any dog owner who allows his dogs to persistent barking and howling and that cause a nuisance commits an offence. So our whole process with dealing with the council in this issue, the council have now come back to us and said to us that the dogs must sustain the barking for more than 15 minutes. There's nothing in the bylaw that states that those dogs must bark for 15 minutes to cause a nuisance. These dogs can bark now. They can bark in 30 seconds, they can bark in another 2 minutes, they can bark in another 2 hours. They might bark for 1 minute, they might bark for 5 minutes. There might be all 50 of them barking, there might be only 3 or 4 of them barking. But at the end of the day, when we are in our garden, doing our gardens, minding our own business, and you have that constant pressure of those dogs barking and howling day in, day out, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, it becomes playing with your mind. So where I'm at is I want the council to start to provide more clarity within the bylaw, because the bylaw is very, very ambiguous, should I say. It's not totally clear. All we're reading is that if the dogs become a nuisance to any one person or persons, that they must cease and desist. We don't see anything in the bylaw that tells us that the dogs have to bark for 15 minutes. Another thing is, because we live rural, we have now been told that the property that's in question doesn't need a kennel licence to have those 40 or 50 dogs. Well, there's nothing in the bylaw that says that the dogs, that they don't have to have a kennel licence. All it says that the Rotorua district, you must have a kennel licence and your dogs must be registered to own more than 2, 4 dogs, however it may be. So what I would like to see is some more clarity within the bylaw. Welcome to any questions. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Tom, for taking the time to come and make your submission. Councillors, are there any questions for Tom? Councillor Patterson. And if you could make your question pretty succinct.
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. So you say you're in a rural area.
Yes.
They're not the hunt hounds, are they?
They are.
They are, right.
And my other issue with that is for council, for planning in the future, we are some of the closest properties to Rotorua's development, and if you don't do something about this now, In another 4 or 5 years' time, you're not going to have one person sitting here, you're going to have 50. So you better start thinking about it now.
Thank you.
Any further, Councillor Wayne?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for coming to present today. Kind of following on from that question, so is your view that we should have, I guess, clearer rules for urban and rural dog ownership?
Absolutely, absolutely, and clearer rules, full stop. There's nothing in the current bylaw that says that a dog has to sustain barking for 15 minutes. Bring the bylaw up, show it to me. Can you please show me where in the bylaw it says that the dogs have to bark for more than 15 minutes? Because I can't read it anywhere.
And I understand the issues that you're facing.
Yep.
As well. Just as a having spoken to many other rural residents as well, I guess animal noise in a rural environment is quite a natural occurrence as well.
Absolutely, cows mooing, lambs baaing, but I mean dogs howling and barking, it's no different to your baby crying. Oh, yeah, okay, I can give you a sample of it. No, I've left it up there. If you want to listen to it, I can play thing for the forum. Got 13 seconds left. What's that?
Maybe if that could just... I'm just wondering, given the time has run out, whether it would be better if that's distributed to the councillors.
Oh, the councillors already got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom, for taking the time to come in and make your submission. The next submitter is Lexia Tuarua, and the submission is volume 1 and page 4, councillors. Tēnā koe Lexia, and welcome to the Rotorua Lakes Council. We're in your hands.
Kia ora tātou, I'm Lexia Taurua. I live with Mac, he's a Rori, and she's a little bit so. I consider myself now to be a good dog owner because I register my dogs every year. In the past, I did get prosecuted by the district council at the time because I refused to register one of my dogs. But that was because I questioned the jurisdiction out where I lived, and I live out at Kaingaroa Forest Village. And I didn't see a shitload of council animal control people out there ever. But I'm now a good dog owner because I don't want anybody to come and take Mac or take Yashi. And I don't like the idea of the DNA, taking of the DNA, and I do not like the idea of desexing. I know somebody says that, you know, the cost of desexing will probably be recovered from the bad owners, because in the end it's going to be a cost to good dog owners. You know, like I read in one of the spiels that the council put out that there's over 1,000 people who were dogs that are not registered this year. Well, you know, the price of the registration is going to go up in order to fund the taking of the DNA and the desexing, because I don't think, the bad dog owners, I don't think they're going to pay up. You know, so us good owners are subsidising the bloody bad owners, and the council is still, you know, they can't collect off the 1,000 dogs that are missing off the registry radar. They can't collect from them other than taking them to court, but then they got to fine them, then they get a little fine, and those are the ones that need to be targeted, like some of the other submitters over here have mentioned, you know, reasons why. I don't need to go into that. But also, like, I'm on a very limited income now, and I don't want to be one of those, you know, like 1,001 bad dog owners. I don't. But at the end of the day, with the rising costs, like dog registration went up 5%, you know, and I had to sort of look at that and think, oh, well, what am I going to cut out? And that's what comes from being a good dog owner and on a limited income. So, yeah, I don't like the idea, because at the end of the day, we're going to have to pay for that somehow or other. No matter how you try and slide it in there, we're going to have to pay. And I don't like that idea. Otherwise, you know, we would all have to stop being, if we can't afford that, we can all have to stop being bloody dog owners. And then Lordy knows what's going to happen to my Mackie boy and Yashi. That's me. Thank you. It's all financial, all money, money, money. We don't have enough of it.
Thank you very much, Lexia, for coming in to make your submission, and thank you for being a good dog owner. Councillors, there is a little bit of time. Councillor Patterson, if you're happy to take questions, sorry. Lexia.
Yeah, well, I'll try and answer. Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
So your advice to us would be to focus on the miscreants rather than the good people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, like those ones who did this to Suze, please. You know, rather than getting another little piece of a puzzle which is going to end up costing people, you know.
So may I ask, I don't mean to be prying, but are you living solely on the pension?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very limited income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And if the dog registration keeps going up, well,
you've got all the other costs.
Something's got to go.
Yeah. Kapai. Understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillors, any further questions for Lexia? Thank you very much, Lexia, for coming in. Our next submitter is Mike McVicker, and that is volume 2, councillors, on page 3. Tēnā koe, Mike. Welcome. Good to see you back here in the chamber.
Your Worship, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to come along and present my case. Regarding the two issues that have been part of this hearing, I have no problems with either the DNA or the desexing. My issue is dogs and the CBD. For quite some years now, I have been communicating with the council regarding when will we be in a position to have dogs allowed in the CBD. We live on the village green. Every day we see dogs being walked or played with on the village green on leads, and I'll just point out that leads are essential, obviously, if we're going to allow them in the CBD. And the fact that the council continues to ban them is somewhat frustrating, particularly in our case where for the last 2 or 3 years I have been communicating with the council, and we were told that early last year, the position of dogs in the CBD would go out to consultation in a very short period. That was last year. We're still waiting at this point of time. Consultation, I gather, therefore, with the community has been disregarded. And I suspect the council have made a decision whereby they have explained in the information that has been provided a rather nebulous suggestion that they need to align dogs in the CBD with the future development of the CBD. I find that rather strange, to be honest. What have dogs in the CBD got to do with the future development of CBD? And as we know, such issues as the development of our city take time. And you look in the past at all the efforts that have been made over the years to improve the CBD. It's taken a lot of time, and already we've been waiting for several years, and I suspect it could drag on. The last issue relating to dogs in the CBD was 12 years ago, September 2012. Trevor and I will remember it. And there was a considerable amount of scaremongering, I would suggest, that the events that the lady here has explained this afternoon could happen in the future. I'm just looking at my notes. I note that the council this time has also indicated that there are happenings, like the lady explained, in recent times here in Rotorua. I would be interested to learn, are there any such cases or incidents happening that have occurred in the CBD? I suspect most of them would have been in the outer line areas of our city. Declining dog registration is another irrational reason, I find, why the decision cannot be made in the immediate future. And let's face it, in today's economic climate, people are struggling, I gather, to feed their dogs, let alone to pay their dog registration. As far as visitors, I've always maintained that the fact that we do not allow dogs in the CBD does impact on our tourism, our visitor industry. And I have met several people walking their dogs in the CBD, and when you point out to them that you realise that you're not supposed to be here, they're shocked. And I've come across several people who have said, look, they're going to cut their visit to Rotorua short, and they won't be coming back if that is the case. So I really believe the time has come for the council to speed up the process, because I suspect at this point of time we're looking at several years down the track before it will even be debated or the community will be consulted. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Mike. Any questions, councillors? Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the Chair, thank you very much for your submission, Mike, coming in today. Could I ask you, so are you, just so I'm not putting words in your mouth, are you in favour of all breeds, all registered dogs being allowed in the CBD, or would you suggest limits? And also, would you support muzzling if we looked at this in the future?
Second, all registered dogs, not a problem. The second point was, sorry?
Sorry, muzzling.
I don't have an opinion on that, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mike, for taking the time to come in today.
Thank you.
Councillors, our next submission is from David Barrowman. It is Volume 1, page 12. Good afternoon and welcome, David.
Good afternoon and thank you for the opportunity. My name is David Barrowman. I'm a veterinarian in this town and I've been here for quite some time, as you can probably tell. And we hear a lot of press about the bad dogs in the city, and I'm here to champion the good dogs and the good people. Dogs are a member of the family. This is over 70% of people regard that as true. And there's a huge amount of research about the human-animal bond. Quality of life for people that have pets is higher, both mentally and physically. So there's a lot of good reasons to encourage pet ownership. When I go to the CBD, when I go to the government gardens, when I go to the waterfront, I want to take my family. And my family includes a very nice dog. I go to Queenstown, I can walk my dog through the CPD, I can walk it through the lakefront, I can go into the park. Not only am I welcome, but the council has put up some very nice poo bag dispensers to make it very easy for me to comply with what I need to do. As a veterinarian, I see a large number of dog attacks every year. I cannot remember one that involved two dogs being on a lead. So to support Mike's and Holly's comments, I think a dog on a lead is not a problem, it's an asset. On occasion, very rarely that I have my dog out, a lot, people come up to me and start talking to me, tourists, all sorts of people, they're engaging, oh my dog, I had to leave it at home, can I talk to your dog? They're an asset in the CPD. I spoke to a previous mayor about this and the comment was made that bad dogs would end up in CBD, they'd end up in the government gardens. To be honest, I don't think bad dogs leave home. You know, they're certainly not walk around the streets normally on a lead. So the bylaw can be quite simple. If your dog is out and about, it's on a lead. If it's not, then that's where the fine is. And it doesn't matter if they're roaming, attacking, it's very straightforward. Your dog's out, it's not under control. And on that score, I don't think a dog off lead is under control by anyone, no matter what they say. So I don't think there's any point saying on a lead or under control. Skip the under control, they're not. And that's about it. So I think the locals and the tourists would love to take their dogs out more. The cafe owners want it. And in those places around New Zealand where you can take them, you just don't see problems. And Rotorua is a progressive city. Tourists, locals need to come here, want to come here, and they want to bring their family. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, David. We've got a little bit of time. I've just got one question and then I'll go to Councillor Wang. It's just that in our policy we have got certain areas that have been set aside for dogs to be off lead. So are you saying that we should have dogs on leads all the time, regardless of whether they're in the CBD or anywhere
Fabulous
else?
question. Look, I think some people like to take their dog off lead. I will never take my dog to a place where dogs are off lead. I see too many attacks. You know, some people are happy to take that risk and they think the benefit outweighs the risk. So I think it's good to have a place where they can go and let their dog off lead. Christchurch has a very clever place where they've fenced off an area. You pay $8 for an hour and you get the key code. You take your dog in there, let it loose. There are no other dogs there. So I think potentially that could be a cool thing to have in the forest where people can let their dogs off. They can run and run and run and then you take them home again.
Okay, thank you for that. And Councillor Wang?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much for your submission and providing the examples of what other districts have done successfully as well. With your, I guess, your expert view on this, dealing with incidences such as dog attacks, or the aftermath of them, would you say if we were to introduce, you know, dogs on leashes into the inner city area, that concern of that it would introduce bag dogs, quote unquote bag dogs into that area, that it's probably already happening now, and regardless of the change in rules?
Yeah, look, I think that's exactly true. They don't honestly care what your bylaws are. It's only I do. Oh, I can't take my dog in there. And look, I don't actually see dogs in the central business district. Very rarely see them in the down the waterfront. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have, you know, another asset.
Thank you.
Just one last thing which I find really interesting is if my dog wanders into a paddock, it looks at a sheep, you're allowed to shoot it. If it attacks a sheep, you're allowed to shoot it. It attacks a human, we go to court, we have a discussion around it. It just seems that we value sheep and wild animals more than we value human life, which I find it's probably a bit off topic, but concerns me a bit.
Well, thank you very much, David, for taking the time to come in to make your submission today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Next submitted councillors is Adrian Hall, and it's Volume 1, page 14. Good afternoon and welcome, Adrian.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. I feel more than a little fraudulent being here because I have no dog at the moment. I have 5 cats, but I do walk around the streets as part of my exercise regime. I find I'm more concerned about roaming dogs than I am about roaming humans who might be dangerous. My experience mainly on this issue is in my previous work as education officer at the Wellington SPCA and also as a driver, emergency ambulance after hours driver. So I saw lots of animals in very bad conditions as the result of owners who didn't care. And one of the indications of their lack of care was they didn't get their animals neutered. They were often angry as a result, and they didn't get the microchip. So I think those are basic needs of all of our friends, you know, all of our, well, should we say 4-legged friends. So I'm very much on the side of taking DNA from repeat offenders, well, in fact, initial offenders even, any dog that is found roaming and incarcerated by the pound, I think should be tested for future reference, to have some kind of database, because we hear more and more of dogs attacking other dogs, dogs attacking people. So there's got to be some kind of reference point for that. I'm also in favour of neutering repeat offenders. What I don't get is that it has to be within a 12-month time frame between their first incarceration, shall we say, for them to be required to be neutered. I think any dog that is found wandering should be neutered, because we have too many dogs, and many of them are in reduced circumstances. I personally would not hurry to get a dog myself now, because of the level of registration fees. Back in the day when I had dogs, there wasn't any registration. But I don't see how people who love their animals and may not have a lot of income can pay the level of fee. I also think that animals that are neutered should get a bigger discount. The owners should get a bigger discount for neutered animals, and that it shouldn't be reducing over time. It should stay constant. That's the main stuff, but I loved what I heard from other people about letting animals into the CBD and into, down at the lakefront. I mean, they should be there. They're, as has been said before, they're part of our family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Are there any questions? Are you happy to take any questions? Or
yeah, sure.
If there are any councillors, Councillor Wayne.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Adrian, for your submission and coming to speak as well. Your prior experience as Education Officer with the SPCA, that would have been a really valuable tool, I guess, because I know that the SPCA runs many de-sexing campaigns with vouchers for cats. However, I'm not aware that they do the same thing for dogs.
They normally don't let dogs go until they've been neutered. Well, certainly in Wellington, I'm not sure of the practice in Rotorua.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm talking about dogs that haven't gone through the SPCA, I guess, process.
Right.
Here in Rotorua, they give out vouchers to people who may not be able to afford de-sexing their cat. I guess that would be potentially something that we could look at as an opportunity.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, anything that would help with the cost, because it can be prohibitive. But a lot of vets are very amenable to helping people who are wanting to get their animals neutered.
Thank you very much, Adrian, for your submission and for taking the time to come in today.
Thank you.
Just going to have a quick break for a minute. We're just going to check what other submitters are here, because they are coming in those 30-minute bands. Just checking finally that there is no one outside waiting. Just Councillor Wang, if you could just... You got your live stream back on? So I just have to put the live stream back on. Thank you. Thank you very much, councillors. There are no other people that are here to make their submissions this afternoon, so you will have the opportunity to read the submissions that are in the catalogue that's been provided to you. But given that there are no more submitters, can I thank those that did come in today very much for taking the time to come in and make your presentations in person. And Councillor Wayne, can I ask you to do the closing karakia, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Kia whakairea te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara, kia turuki whakataha ai, kia turuki whakataha ai, haumie, huie, tae kie.
Tēnā koe, Councillor Wang. I now declare the hearings closed. Thank you very much, councillors.
Thank you.